Student loans are a wonderful thing, and we need them in this world to help us make it. But when our loans are so big and we don't have a way to pay them because we didn't get a job when we got out of college, or maybe we were laid off, these loans can turn into something that can be devastating for a family. And you're going to seek out for help wherever you can. And unfortunately, there are many scammers who know that people are desperate to get relief from these debts. And so they use that desperation as a way to take monies that should be going on your student loans with the hope that the debt is either being reduced or it's in forbearance or even forgiven. And it turns out to be a scam. The FTC and many of the state's attorney general's office work together to put an end to this practice, to put these folks on notice that this is going to stop. And they call this collaboration Operation Game of Loans. You know, when you're going through the student loan thing, it's like your life is in a horrible sea, and that's what the Federal Trade Commission and all of the attorney generals in various states that's going to be in this video that I'm going to show. It lists numerous states that have worked with the FTC and the other agency to come up with a solution for people who are dealing with this kind of debt. This is Operation Game of Loans. I love the name. It says the FTC and state law enforcement partners announced nationwide crackdown on student loan debt relief scams. And this was a press release the FTC put out in 2017. And as you can see from this image, it says Operation Game of Loans, stopping student loan debt relief scams. So the FTC and state enforcement agencies, there's 36 states and the District of Columbia, and the scammers collected over $95 million in illegal fees. So how did they scam people? What kind of bait did they use? This is a screenshot I got from the Federal Trade Commission's website, and this is one of the ads they use. And it looks like a reputable thing, and look at all the little as reported on here. They all had one thing in common. They misrepresented who they were and who they were affiliated with. And this is what made them so effective. On this slide, it states the Federal Trade Commission, along with 11 states and the District of Columbia, today announced Operation Game of Loans, the first coordinated federal state law enforcement initiative targeting deceptive student loan debt relief scams. This nationwide crackdown encompasses 36 actions by the Federal Trade Commission and state attorney generals against scammers alleged to have used deceptive and false promises of relief to take more than $95 million in illegal upfront fees from American consumers over a number of years. It states that these were some of the most prominent actions that these fraudulent individuals did. They charge consumer illegal upfront fees. Any form of debt relief does not charge you in the beginning. They have to provide the service, then you pay them. False promises to help reduce or forgive student loan debt burdens. That's something no one can promise you. I have this video on my YouTube channel that's entitled Debt is Not a Gift. The debt I'm talking about is student loan debts. To get student loans is not a gift, it is a debt. And they pretended to be affiliated with the government or loan servicers in violation of the FTC's telemarketing sales rule and the FTC Act. These are the states that were involved in Operation Game of Loans. And if you're in one of these states, you should contact your Attorney General's office. You have Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Texas, Washington, and District of Columbia. Now, these are just a few of them that are listed on this complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. But if you feel that maybe your state might have been involved in some way, please contact your Attorney General's office. Now, these are some of the alleged violators. These are just some of their parent company names. They have other little company names and affiliations under these parent companies. You had A1 Doc Prep Inc., American Student Loan Consolidators, Alliance Document Preparation, Student Debt Doctor, Student Debt Relief Group, Student Aid Center, Strategic Student Solutions. It's just so sad that they have named these things to appear like they're working with some government agency. The FTC Acting Chairman made an interesting statement. She said, "Winter is coming for debt relief scams. They prey on hardworking Americans struggling to pay back their student loans." And their winter is coming because there is now a nationwide crackdown on these scammers who have caused so many people so much pain. And in the next paragraph, it gives a studentaid.gov/repay for information about existing repay and forgiveness programs available to them or at no cost. That sentence is found in the second paragraph at the bottom here. That's the real place for help. There is no charge. So if you're having problems with your loan, that's the place to go. Operation Games of Loan has turned into a real benefit for student debt relief. People need that assistance, and you can get debt assistance with the loans through the federal government without having to go through these companies and pay anything. The debt relief programs the federal government has are free. Okay, this is the company. I'm just going to touch on the ones that they had in 2017. This A1 Doc Prep, they were in California, and their main claim to fame was they actually claimed to be from the Department of Education and promised to reduce borrowers' monthly payments or forgive their loans. And they were in some other illegal activities as well. And then the guy got the money, and look what it says here. It says he spent thousands of consumer dollars on cars, jewelry, nightclubs, and restaurants. So this project that they're doing to help save some of the monies of consumers is really working. Okay, Alliance Document Preparation, they're also in California. They took more than $20 million from consumers by charging illegal upfront fees of up to $1,000. Defendants deceptively marketed their purported services primarily on social media platforms like Facebook. So here it goes on to list other names in this case that's related to this Alliance Document Preparation, and you can see all these different LLCs that are listed under here, and all these people are involved in this scam. This company, Student Debt Doctor in Florida, they not only charge people exorbitant upfront fees, they use social media, email to advertise their services, and they promised consumers 5 years to loan forgiveness or even less. But the worst thing they did, they separated the consumer from the loan servicer, the person who owned the loan, and they also created fraudulent applications that were submitted to the Department of Education to get the debt payments reduced. So it was a couple of things going on in this company, and it's just such a shame as to how they have defrauded so many people. Now, Student Debt Relief Group, they're in California, and they falsely claim to be affiliated also with the Department of Education, and they had people paying up to $1,000 in illegal upfront fees and to get into free government programs that are free. You don't have to pay anybody to get into those programs. You just have to submit the paperwork to get into them. And then they charge you monthly fees, they claim, which would be credited towards their student loans, which they were not. Consumer complaints were falling in, like a landslide against these people. So instead of them changing what they were doing, they just changed the name of the business. And they deceived consumers into providing them with Social Security numbers, federal student aid, which helped them hijack the consumer's account and cut them off from the loan servicer in the Department of Education. So the poor consumer did not know that his debt was going into default. As it states here, Operation Game of Loans also added 2 more pending FTC allegations against 11 additional student loan debt relief scammers. So, unfortunately, this has been so prevalent because student loan debt can be crippling. This company, Student Aid Center, they're in Florida, and they misrepresented themselves as well as being in the government, basically, to be able to forgive loans, because that was the whole thing. It says right here, it says that consumers to sign up for their services using misleading and false claims. So in particular, this company told consumers that they could receive loan forgiveness or modification if they paid an unlawful upfront fee. And then they also tricked consumers into thinking the operations was involved in the approval process. So you're paying these people thinking that they're got some authority to get your loans forgiven or reduced. That is just not true. Now, this one was located in Florida. This is Strategic Student Solutions. They falsely promised to reduce or eliminate the student loan debt and offering them non-existent credit repair services, because student loan debt can mess up your credit. But what they were doing was just ripping people off and making promises they could not keep. Now, American Student Loan Consolidators, ASLC, and they're in Florida, their little trick was the loan forgiveness, lower monthly payments, and reduce the interest. They alleged all of these things, and this was done also in Florida, and pretended to be affiliated with the Department of Education and loan servicers. The defendants also tricked consumers into believing that illegal upfront fees, typically up to $799, were being used to pay off the student loans, which your student loan servicer never got any of that money. Now, these are some of the attorney generals that were involved and some of the organizations that were involved. It says the FTC thanks all of those who helped with this operation, including state attorney generals participated in this initiative, and the U.S. Department of Education Office of Financial Student Aid, and particularly help on the FTC's law enforcement action for the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. All these fraudulent things these people were sending out. So you had the Florida Attorney General, Georgia, New York, California, Brown County Sheriff's Department, Baton Rouge Police Department, Los Angeles Police Department, the Better Business Bureau of Southeast Florida and the Caribbean, and Los Angeles and Silicon Valley. So this scam has hurt so many people, and I'm just so happy to see how all these organizations have come together to get this under control, because it's terrible to be trying to resolve your student loans and then to be found out to be a scam. That they've only did is ripped you off. So you haven't paid the loans are now in default. So it must be horrible for people who are caught in this. Thank you so much for visiting my channel and listening to this video about Operation Game of Loans. And I hope that in some way it was helpful. But please contact your Attorney General's office in your state to find out where the litigation is, because they're actually seeking restitution. People who have been defrauded, the FTC will be sending out checks. And I have put a channel up on my I'm so sorry about that. I put a playlist on my channel in regards to student loan issues, and I will have information about the Operation Game of Loans there, and anytime any refund comes out, I will post it there. And have a great day.